The Trump administration says they may arrest 3 Democratic lawmakers after a chaotic scene outside an ICE detention center in New Jersey that already led to the arrest of Newark's mayor. Those lawmakers are under threat of arrest. They are here with me now. You see them: Democratic Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and Congressman Rob Menendez. Thanks to all 3 of you for being here. I'm going to start with you, Congresswoman Watson Coleman. The Department of Homeland Security's spokeswoman was on CNN and said that potential charges for all 3 of you are, quote, on the table. Have you heard from anyone at DHS that you might be charged or arrested?
We've not heard anything. We've only read what everyone else has read. We have no idea why they would even suggest that, because we didn't do anything. So nope, we have no idea what they have in mind other than to create an environment of intimidation just by claiming that perhaps we might be subject to arrest. But there's no reason for it. Nothing happened other than the chaos that they created themselves. If anything, we were pushed and shoved and found in a very vulnerable situation for the 3 of us. We went there to do a legal oversight visit that we're allowed to do, permitted to do under the law. And ICE delayed us, tried to dissuade us, disregarded us. We were there an hour and a half before the mayor came. And we went out there to see what was happening. When the mayor was there, then the mayor was asked to leave the space. He left the space willingly. And the next thing we know, ICE is going to arrest him. And they arrested him for trespassing on public property, which is absurd.
Congresswoman McIver, I want to go back to some of the footage. We were looking at some, and I want our viewers to see that you are the woman in the red blazer as we show them. The DHS says that obviously that there were chaos, that maybe you were trespassing. You can talk about that. But the DHS also says that, in their words, you were body slamming an ICE officer. Is that what we're looking at? Is that what happened?
Absolutely no. I mean, I honestly do not know how to body slam anyone. There's no video that supports me body slamming anyone. We, as Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman said, we were simply there to do our job, therefore oversight visit, and what you're watching in a video, and we don't have all of the body cam, and we hope that all of the body cam is released. It was a very tense situation. It unfortunately did not have to be like that. They created that confrontation, they created that chaos, and then ultimately went to arrest the mayor of the largest city of New Jersey, who is my mayor and my constituent. And it was very difficult to watch that happen, but absolutely, I did not body slam anyone.
Congressman Menendez, as we saw there was a lot of shoving, a lot of shouting going on. It got physical. How did this situation escalate in the first place? And is there anything about what happened, looking back and looking at that video, that you might regret about how it played out?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think there was a lot of opportunities for DHS, for ICE to de-escalate the situation. They chose not to. There's 3 House members there, the mayor of the largest city. And as you can see in all of the video, and this is important, they had over 20 armed ICE HSI officers. They were heavily armed. Their faces were covered, and they were wearing no identification. So this is who they chose to have come engage with the mayor of Newark and 3 elected members of the House of Representatives. As Congressman Watson Coleman said, the mayor had gone on to public property. He had de-escalated the situation. We were all on the other side of the fence, on the, let's just call it the private side of the fence. The mayor was on the public side. Someone there from HSI got a call And what happened next was they re-engaged with the mayor. They went onto the public side, and that's where they arrested him. So there were so many instances where this could have all been de-escalated, but it was squarely in HSI ICE's court. They chose not to. They made this a violent scene that we were unfortunately all a part of. And it's something that should really shock all Americans.
And this was an attempt, you were doing an event there, but you were also trying to go forward with part of your job in Congress, which is oversight. Were you able to get any of that oversight actually done? Congresswoman McIver, I'll send that to you.
Yes, we actually were. I mean, that's why I find it to be appalling that they said we were trespassing, because how are we trespassing? And then you offer us a tour at the end, which is the reason why we were there in the first place, to have a tour of this facility that had just opened up on May 1st. It had over 100 detainees. We were getting reports prior to our tour that children were there. We did not know the status of the facility or the status of the detainees. And so that is why we showed up there to do our job as members, and New Jerseyans count on us to do our job. Immigration has been something that's in the back doors, in the backyards of New Jersey, and it's our jobs to make sure everything is running properly at this facility. So we were able to get a tour towards the end of all of that commotion, all of that chaos. They took us on a tour, offered us a soda in the midst of doing this, never apologized or said anything about the confrontation and the chaos that they caused outside. But we were able to get in, speak to detainees, check out the facilities, and, you know, make sure everything was okay there.
The tour, Congresswoman Watson Coleman, just to be clear, the tour came after that confrontation?
The tour came after the confrontation, even though we were there at almost 2 hours before the confrontation took place. But ICE kept giving us the runaround and kept saying that they needed to talk to someone else. So finally, when we saw that all of the hierarchy from ICE in the state of New Jersey was on the premises, we were ready to then do the tour. But then this ensued, this conversation they had with the mayor. We were right there on the site with him when they asked him to get off of the property. He willingly moved, quietly moved with dignity and respect. And then chaos ensued when someone on the phone above the leaders of ICE who were with us at the facility instructed them to go out of the facility, go to the private property, and lock the mayor of the largest city in the state of New Jersey up. That's absurd. That's un-American. That's scary. That's determination to intimidate people in this country. And we fear for the safety and security of everyday families just trying to go about their lives. If they can do this to 3 federally elected officials with the authority to come and do their job, and they can then also lock up the mayor of the largest city and the state of New Jersey who is on public property, I understand the fear that I keep getting information on. People just are afraid of this un-American hyperactivity, this weaponization of law enforcement, and the consistent lying at all levels to try to cover up for the wrong and the unlawful activities that ICE did on that day.
A lot of unanswered questions here. Appreciate the 3 of you coming on together today to try to shed a little bit more light on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.